I was recently at a press briefing for the Realme 3 Pro, and my first impressions, if I'm really honest, were not great, as the Realme 3 Pro has a fairly generic look to it. But as the press briefing came to an end, I came to realise that looks can be deceiving, and that this phone, which is priced from just £175 for a 464GB version up to a ridiculously cheap £219 for a 628GB version, that this is actually quite a good phone. But before we get going, I want to say a big thank you to Direct Mobiles. They have over 24 years of award-winning customer service, and it's just a great place to look if you need a new phone. Check down in the video description below for a link, or you can search directmobiles.co.uk. Right, so the Realme 3 Pro. Very simple packaging. I like the colour scheme, and inside the box there's even a case, and it's actually a very snug and good quality case. This phone's got a headphone jack and a single down-firing speaker, and the not so modern micro USB connector. But if sacrificing the USB Type-C means that this phone can perform well in other areas that really count, then I'll take it. And it really does. Along with that nice amount of system memory and ROM, it also has a Snapdragon 710 chipset. Now this is probably the best mid-range chipset around, and it runs the Snapdragon X15 modem for a stable data connection with high transfer speeds. It also has Qualcomm's Spectra image signal processor, which allows this phone to shoot pretty good electronically stabilized video. The Realme 3 Pro has a massive 4045 mAh battery, and the battery supports VOOC 3.0 flash charging. For the price that you pay for this phone, I'm already impressed, and I haven't even got to the cameras yet. It uses a 16 megapixel Sony IMX519 imaging sensor and has a 5 megapixel sensor for depth. The main sensor is covered by an f1.7 lens. It uses multi-frame synthesis technology, capturing multiple images at 16 megapixels. It can then synthesize it into one 64 megapixel ultra high definition photo. It uses pixel copies to increase the pixels, synthesizing more to produce pretty good shots. As I mentioned before, we get electronically stabilized 1080p video at 30 frames per second. The resolution goes all the way up to 4K, and super slow-mo at 960 frames per second, although that slow-mo does seem to be a little bit jerky. The camera app is quite simple, with just 3 shooting modes on the main screen, those being video, photo and portrait mode. Tap on the tab to the left side and you get a few more shooting modes, including slow-mo, time-lapse and expert, which is what they call pro mode. We get a maximum exposure time of 16 seconds and no control over ISO at all, unfortunately, but you do get white balance, autofocus and exposure compensation. Also under that tab you'll find Panorama and Nightscape. The Nightscape is Realme's version of night mode, taking multiple exposures and then combining that data to give you a clean image in poor lighting conditions, and it seems to work pretty well. In fact, low light shots in general seem to be very good from this phone. The noise is suppressed pretty well and it does an amazing job for a sub £200 phone. The front camera is also surprisingly good. It's a 25 megapixel sensor and it's buried in the dewdrop style notch tucked under the 6.3 inch IPS LCD display. This screen has a resolution of 1080 by 2340 and a screen density of 409 pixels per inch. Realme are claiming a 90.3% screen to body ratio, and it has Gorilla Glass 5 protecting the screen. I think one thing that you can't underestimate the importance of when you're choosing a new phone is actually how it feels in your hand. It should be the right combination of width, height and weight, and the hand feel does have a lot of influence on how we actually feel about our phones, because these things are the most personal piece of technology that we own. And I really like how this phone feels in the hand. It's just about the right size, I think, and the width feels good with its 19.5:9 aspect ratio. It's not exactly a light phone, I would say, but the weight suits me just fine. Okay, so it does have a fairly unremarkable look to it, but they have made some effort with that back cover. I do like the colours that it comes in, those being nitro blue and midnight purple. And if you look very carefully, there is minute detail in there with these Le Mans inspired racing stripes. It does have an iPhone style button layout with the volume rockers to the left and the power button to the right side. The sound coming from the down-firing speaker is not so great, to be honest. It's the only part of the phone that really hasn't impressed me. It does sound like a phone that costs less than £200. It's not the loudest and it's fairly tinny, but I think I can forgive it that because the rest of the phone is really good. It really did take me by surprise. The stabilized video is great and connectivity and general performance is good. It runs on the Color UI 6.0, which is based on Android 9 and as a result benefits from all the AI features such as the adaptive battery, and it has a selection of different swipe gestures to choose from. The menu system is a little bit different from most other Android phones, so it might take a little bit of getting used to. On the home screen there is a side tab, similar to what you would find on the latest Xperia handsets, Tap it and you'll get a quick menu that can be customized. It's a handy little thing and it works well. There are menus that many may not be so familiar with, such as the Convenience tab where you will find all the gestures, and the fingerprint and Face ID options are not under the Security tab where I'm used to seeing them, but it doesn't take too long to get used to. Overall, I'm really impressed, and I didn't think I would be, but the 10nm Snapdragon 710 is an impressive chipset, and this phone leverages its capabilities pretty well. Battery life is great, partly thanks to the chipset and the Android 9 software, and importantly, to me at least, it feels great in the hand. There are negatives though, such as the loudspeaker isn't so good, and I wish it had more of a unique look to it. And then there's the micro USB. But then saying that, the VOOC flash fast charging and the massive battery definitely make up for that. And then of course there's the price. Usually with these low price budget phones, performance does take a hit, but speed is actually this phone's unique selling point. If you have any questions about the Realme 3 Pro, then drop them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. And that's it from me for today. If you've enjoyed this video, then it'd be great if you can hit subscribe, double tap notifications and smash the like button. I've got lots more reviews and comparisons on the way. If you're on social media, then follow me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. It's @Btekt, or add me on Snapchat, david.btekt. Thanks for watching. My name's David, and this is Btekt.